Welcome back to the International Champions Cup here in Minneapolis, Minnesota. After a 2-2 draw, it is on to penalty kicks. Glenn Davis alongside Brian Dunseth down on the field. Kendra D. St. Auburn. Big moment here for Olympiakos to have competed well here today against Manchester City.
Well, it was a solid first 45 minutes. I think fatigue and some of the substitutes changing the identity of the team changed a little bit as Manchester City got stronger with some of their substitutions. But most importantly, this was an opportunity for Michel and Olympiakos to make a statement. 3-0 win in Toronto against AC Milan, a close 1-0 loss against Liverpool, and then today to draw 2-2 with Manchester City. Psychologically, these are great results ahead of the season.
Let's go back to the first half. We'll recap this game for you. All the goals. 35th minute, Jovetic picking up his 5th of this tournament.
Well, it's poor defending across the back line. A couple step-overs opened up, a slight deflection, and Jovetic, he gets his 5th goal. And then Diamantakos, the 21-year-old, did a great job leveling just 2 minutes later.
On to the second half, and Manchester City would come out here flying. Silva fouled, and to the penalty spot, Kolarov makes it 2-1.
After all the challenges we saw in the box, that was the one that was called. And then Diamantakos, poor decision across the back line. Joe Hart gets caught off his line. He gets his second. He levels 54th minute.
Man, his movement has been very, very good today, Diamantakos. Joe Hart, Manchester City pondering penalty kicks. Big man makes the goal look small, Joe Hart. And this will add to the entertainment value here today in Minnesota for the 30,000 plus that have made it out here on the campus of the University of Minnesota. Very good goalkeepers, capable of saving penalties. Joe Hart for Manchester City. Roberto for Olympiakos. David Silva will be up first for Manchester City. So it is Silva, the Spaniard, against Roberto, the Spaniard.
Glenn, let's keep an eye on the penalty spot and how that area changes throughout these penalty kicks.
Silva, and he pushes it in. Wonderfully casual, but effective penalty.
One of the best left feet in the world. He just steps up, opens up his hips, and just pushes it past the keeper. Roberto guesses the right way. Nothing he can do with that accuracy in that placement. Samaris up next for Olympiakos.
So Andreas Samaris will want to level things here in the first round of penalties. Distance today in midfield. Samaris ties it up. Good penalty from Samaris after a full 90-minute performance here today.
He steps up casually, opens up his hips, comes back across as Joe Hart goes down to his left-hand side. He goes to Joe Hart's right. Well-taken penalty.
So Kolarov, who scored a penalty during the course of the match, will try to make a second one here to put Man City up. Kolarov, who's 2 for 2 on penalties today, hit with authority.
He missed his penalty against Liverpool a few nights ago. This time goes across, hits the side net. Incredibly well-taken penalty from Kolarov.
Dosevi now the second half sub for Olympiakos, coming to take his penalty. Struggled a bit with his touch during the course of that 45 minutes. The Frenchman against Joe Hart. Save Joe Hart. Going to his left. And it was almost as though he got there before the ball did.
Well, he left his hips open the entire time. Easy read for Joe Hart. Goes down to his left-hand side. Stays strong with both big hands. Got a smile on his face.
2-1 Manchester City, with Milner to try and make it 3-1. James Milner. Save! A response from Roberto as he saves Milner.
What a fantastic save this is. Milner grabs it, touches it, and gets it well, but Roberto goes down. Keep it on the right hand. Just fingertips, so much strength to get a hold of that ball and keep it going into the back of the net.
So an opportunity now for Olympiakos to tie things up, to take the penalty. Kolovos, the second half sub. And that's a great penalty. Wow. He got into a great goal-scoring position that might have put him up. Didn't do much with it in the second half, but hits this with conviction.
Kolovos goes up and over the right-hand side of Joe Hart, just out of the reach of his fingertips. Scott Sinclair up next for Man City.
Top of the fourth round here. Sinclair also a second half sub. 25-year-old, played in the Olympics in London, representing Great Britain. Sinclair saved. Not a good penalty. And Olympiakos now has an opportunity to take the lead here.
Well, back-to-back saves for that man, Roberto. Poor taken penalty. Quickly down to his right-hand side, lifts his legs, pushes left, comes back across.
Kazarian now, the 26-year-old, in a position now to put Olympiakos up 3-2 on penalties. Kazarian. And it's now Olympiakos up 3-2.
Well, Joe Hart goes down to his left. Ball goes up over his right-hand shoulder. Michel's happy, well taken penalty.
Zuccolini stepping up here, has to score here in order to keep Manchester City alive in the penalties. Saved or missed, and it's over. Zuccolini, and he rolls it in with tremendous confidence.
He steps up well, just passes it into the empty net as Roberto got down to his right-hand side. Zuccolini goes down opposite.
Tremendous penalty from the Argentine. So coming up now for Olympiakos is number 21, Papadopoulos, the center back, who can have the light shined on him here today. He makes this, and Olympiakos will win this against Manchester City. Australian born. Saved Hart! He went for power, hitting right at him. So now it's on to round 6.
He tries to go right down the middle, and Joe Hart does such a fantastic job just trailing with his left leg, stays strong, and just flares out at the last second. Papadopoulos denied.
John Guidetti will step up for Manchester City. So now we're in the situation, you make one or you miss one or have it saved and it's over. So Gudetti now put Manchester City back on top and does. That's a good penalty from the second half sub. So the pressure now back on Olympiakos.
Gudetti does a great job opening up, comes back across his body, just out of the reach of Roberto. Very similar to the save that he made on Milner. This time Roberto can't touch it.
So stepping up now, Andreas Buchalakis has to convert here to keep this going. A save or a miss and it's over, and Manchester City will win. Buchalakis scores. Ice-cold penalty to keep it going.
Just a casual run-up from Buchalakis. Opens up his hips. Well taken with that left foot. Even if Joe Hart guesses the right way, no chance he's getting on the end of it.
Micah Richards now will come up for Manchester City against Roberto. Richards blasted into the crowd. An erratic penalty. So Olympiakos will have another opportunity to win it.
Well, Micah Richards, he goes for power over placement. Watch this body swing, how wild it is. He almost blasted this out of the stadium. He's got a little bit of a smile on his face. His teammates are going to have a good time giving it to him after this.
Papazoglu, the striker who was a second half sub, to win it for Olympiakos. And he does with class. And that does it. Olympiakos and Michel on penalties, winners over Manchester City.
Casual from Papazoglu just passes it to the inside of that side net. Well taken penalty. And psychologically, another big result for this group during this tour in the United States.
Yeah, speak to that a little bit, because at their training session yesterday, Olympiakos, they made it very clear that the result here, competing well against Manchester City today, was very important to them.
Well, in the long term, it's about making a statement to the world and getting back in the Champions League competition. But in the short term, it's a branding opportunity to capture the imagination of the American fans who aren't familiar with them. And a 3-0 win against AC Milan, a 1-0 loss against Liverpool, and now a penalty kick 2-2 win against Manchester City. This is a huge opportunity that they've taken full advantage of.
Our Guinness man of the match, Dimitrios Diamantakos, 2 goals today for Olympiakos, Brian.
He was the man of the match, and a young striker opened himself up well and took his chances very well. Strong left foot. He's got size, he's got strength. It was a good answer to the opener. And then to follow it up at the 66th minute, he took his chances. He took his chances extremely well.
Well, that'll do it here from TCF Bank Stadium in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Olympiakos winners on penalty kicks after a 2-2 regulation draw. They defeat Manchester City here today. A big win for Michel, the manager of Olympiakos. 2 legendary teams squaring off here today. For my partner, Brian Dunseth, and down on the field, Kindred D. St. Aubin, we say goodbye. From Minneapolis, Minnesota, I'm Glenn Davis.